We were doing the non-finite verbs, right? And uh, today we will continue with that. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We were
Yes, ma'am.
discussing finite and non-finite verbs, right? Uh, should I repeat everything, or should we directly move to participles? Yes. Should I recapitulate everything, or should I go directly to the participles which is remaining? I want an answer.
Participle.
Directly participles. Okay. So infinitives, gerunds, we had done this. Okay. Now coming to participles. This is the third kind of non-finite. Okay. We all use this in the tenses, right? Participles. They are present participle and past participle. Okay. Present participle and past participle, we know this. We have seen this in while we were studying verbs and tenses, right? Now this particular participle, when used as non-finite, it is also called the verbal adjective. Okay. Gerund is called verbal noun and participle is called verbal adjective.
Adjective.
Okay, right? So we have verb as well as adjective here. In gerund, it was verb which was acting as a noun. Here, it is verb which is acting as an adjective. Okay, there are two participles, which is present participle and past participle. We all know this, how to make the present participle and the past participle. The present participle is the ing form. Yesterday I told you that gerund is also ing form and present participle is also ing form, but the uses are different. Okay. Gerund in the ing form acts as a noun, whereas participle, the present participle in the ing form acts as an adjective. Okay. Now, when we use ing, by adding ing in the base verb, all the verbs remain the same, whether it is regular or irregular. We have studied about regular and irregular verb, in which its past tense is different, right? Past tense is not by adding ed. If I say close, it is closed. But when I say eat, the past tense is ate, right? It is not eated. Okay, it is ate. So it is irregular verb. So regular verb, when we form into present participle, it is adding ing. Even if it is irregular, it is adding ing. So all the verbs, all the kinds of verbs, regular or irregular, both they are present participle when we add ing to the base verb. But when the past participle, okay, we have studied this, the regular verb which take ed and irregular verb which are completely different. They are past participle. This is regular verb. Okay, simple past and past participle. It is ed, adding ed. Apologize, apologized, apologized. Closed, closed, closed. Right? This is the regular verb. But what about irregular verb? We have seen eat, ate, eaten. Right? Run, ran, run. You have done this. You have submitted the homework regarding this also. Right? Do you remember that?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
ma'am.
So it is not new to you, but how we are going to use it as infinite, non-finite, right? How we are going to use it as a non-finite verb. We have used it in the sentences, in tenses, in the use of verbs. But now we are going to use it as participle. Okay, so let us see. Using participle as adjectives and in participle phrases. Participle phrases means phrases is a phrase is a group of words which does not convey the complete meaning. Okay, that is a phrase. So how do we use it in a phrase? When we use the participle, what actually happens that the long sentences are shortened. Okay, what we do is we try to condense those long sentences into short ones when we use the participle phrases. Okay, the same idea is conveyed in a longer sentence which can be made short by using a participle phrase. Okay, we have to use many things like relative clause or conjunctions so that we make the sentence lengthy. But removing the clauses, removing the conjunctions, we can use participle phrases. Okay, like the longer form, she soothed the baby who was crying. This is relative clause. Okay, this is relative clause. Which baby? The baby who was crying. Now, if I use the participle, she soothed the crying baby. The baby who was crying. Okay. Now, let us compare the participle with gerund. Okay. She soothed the crying baby. Here the action has been performed by the baby crying. The baby was crying. Okay. When we use gerund, we say the walking stick of my grandfather. Is the stick walking?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Right? No. The stick is not walking. But here the baby is crying. That is the difference. Okay? That is the difference between participle and gerund. Gerund acts as a noun. Okay? And that is why the form of verb using ing does not perform the action of the noun that comes after it. Okay? Whereas in participle, the verb using ing, the present participle, the noun coming after it performs that function. Okay? The crying baby, the baby who was crying. Singing in the shower, I was oblivious of the doorbell ringing. Right? Singing in the shower. I was singing. Right? I was oblivious. Oblivious means forgetting. I was oblivious of the doorbell ringing because I was singing in the shower. Here, because this conjunction is used to join two sentences. Okay? But when you use the participle phrase, you don't have to use the conjunction or the relative clause, right? And you complete the sentence using the participle. Okay? Are you getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Any problem here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Should we proceed?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is an adjective. What we just saw, right? This is an adjective. When we use the adjective, the present participle is used, the action on the part of the noun being modified. I just explained you this, that the baby who was crying. The speeding car crashed into the tree. The car which was speeding. So it is performing the function. Okay. Hugging, the two sisters said goodbye to each other. The two sisters were hugging. Okay. Now this is present participle. how do we use the past participle? It is also the same, okay? The function is the same. Both are used as an adjective, but the past participle will make you that it implies an action on the part of noun that is modified. We describe the characteristic of that noun. Here it was noun which was being modified. Baby who was crying. Okay. Now here the characteristics of that particular noun is taken. How? I picked up the broken bottle. The bottle which was broken. Okay. The bottle which was broken. Bottle is not performing the action here. Is the bottle performing the action?
No, ma'am.
No.
No,
Whereas in crying baby, the baby is performing the action. Okay. The baby is crying. Whereas the bottle did not break itself. Someone has broken the bottle. Okay. Right. So the bottle is not performing the action. The characteristics of that particular noun is expressed by the past participle. Okay, it is expressed by the past participle. The jumbled puzzle pieces were all over the floor. The puzzle pieces are jumbled. Okay, they did not jumble themselves. There was someone who had performed the action, and that is why that characteristics could be seen on that particular noun. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Please
ma'am.
Yes,
take
ma'am.
a bag of frozen vegetables.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, frozen vegetables. The vegetables are frozen. They did not jump into the refrigerator themselves. Okay, they had to be put there, and then the characteristics of that vegetable turned into frozen vegetables. Right? Can you give me some example? Can you give me some examples? Any one of you? Yes. Both. You can give either the present participle or the past participle. Anyone.
Ma'am, the grumbling boss left the office.
Very good. The grumbling boss. The boss who was grumbling. Very good. Next.
Ma'am, past participle.
The lost car was found. Right? The lost car was found. The car which was lost. Okay? Right? As participle phrase. Okay? This also we have seen right in the beginning. Is sometimes known as participial clause. Okay? Participial clause, it is participle clause, but it is sometimes known as participial clause or participial phrase. Okay? It is a group of words that contain participle and functions at adjective clause. We have seen this. Okay? Present participle, singing in the shower. We have seen this. Okay? I was singing. I was oblivious because the clause has been used. Okay? It gives an active meaning. Like James. Who was hiding? James was hiding. So it is an adjective phrase. Hiding under the bed. James was completely silent. This is complete. Okay, this is complete sentence. James was completely silent. But where was he? The adjective phrase tells more about James. Okay, adjective phrase tells you more about the noun. So here James, more about noun is where was James? James was hiding under the bed. Okay, I was oblivious of the doorbell ringing. This is complete in itself, right? But why was I oblivious? Because I was singing in the shower. Okay, I am the agent here, James is the agent here, that means the subject. Okay, the subject, the noun or the pronoun. Whatever action the noun or the pronoun is doing, it modifies that. It tells you more about that. Right? Now, past participle phrase. The chapati burned to a crisp was thrown in the garbage. Right? Now, this has a passive role of action. Okay. It is not exactly telling you the action. Okay. It is just describing, as it describes in the present participle. It also happens in the past participle. But the chapati burned to a crisp was thrown in the garbage. The chapati was thrown in the garbage. Why? It was burnt to a crisp. Okay. Here, the chapati is not the agent. That is what I told you here. The broken bottle. The bottle did not break itself, right? Same way, the chapati did not burn itself. It is the passive. That means someone who prepared the chapatis or who kept it on the fire, it burned, right? Or it tells you about the feeling, right? Like my sister, exhausted after a day's long work, has fallen asleep on the sofa. My sister, it is not the agent. Okay, it is not doing this action. It is not performing this action. Whereas in this we saw that this was the active subject. Okay, I was singing. Who was singing? I was singing. Who was hiding? James was hiding. But here, the chapati did not burn itself, or the sister, she did not exhaust herself. It was some work. It was something which exhausted her, and this is how she feels now. So here, the feeling is expressed, or someone else has performed the action, and that is why the agent or the subject is looking like that. Are you getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you understand this? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, perfect participle phrase. We have seen perfect is have plus V3. Here, having plus past participle. Okay. Instead of ing used in the verb, it is ing which is used in the have. Okay. We want to emphasize that one event happened before other. You must have seen this in while studying the tenses, how two tenses are used together, right? We can use the structure having plus past participle, also known as perfect participle, for example, right? When we use past participle, that is the V3 form, with having, it becomes perfect participle. Okay, having seen the movie before, I wouldn't want to see it again. Having seen, that means I have already seen the movie. Clear? It tells you that one event has already happened. You must have studied the examples of perfect tense, right? The patient had died before the doctor arrived. Had died, past perfect. One action that has already taken place, and the second action which took place in near past. We use simple past at that time, and which happened before that, more past, right? That means before that action happened. The patient had died. This is the first action. Before the doctor arrived, that means doctor arrived later. Here we are using one event that has happened before the another. Okay, so here also we are using the having word, which tells you about the action which has already taken place. Okay, having done a lot of exercise this morning, we should eat a big lunch. Okay, that means this action is already done. Clear? She was exhausted having stayed up all night watching TV. Okay, having finished my work, I went on to meet my friend. Are you getting it? Having finished my work, that means I have already finished my work. Now I'm going to meet my friend. Are you getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
of you,
Yes, ma'am.
is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As an object complement, we have seen object is what? On which there is the effect of the verb. For certain factitive verbs, participles and participle phrases can also act as adjectival object complements. Right? It acts as an object complement, but it is an adjectival. Okay, it acts as an adjective because it is participle. Object complements function by renaming or reclassifying a direct object or by stating what the direct object has become or is doing. Right? Participle can only function as an object complement that state what the direct object is or was doing. It does not have its own function. Okay, it is modifying, it is telling you more about the direct object, what the direct object is doing or the direct object is functioning. Right? Now you, when you see these, it has been clearly indicated. See, in the following example, the verb or phrasal verb is italicized, like we came across. It is phrasal verb. Came is verb, across is preposition. Okay, it is phrasal verb. It is in italics and the direct object is underlined. Across whom? Direct object is him. Okay, and the participle or the participle phrase, that is the object complement. This is the object and it is telling you more about the object. It is in the bold. We came across him. What was he doing? He was lying in the yard. Okay, so participle phrase or the object complement tells you more about the object, and if it tells more about the object, it becomes adjective. Okay, it tells you more about the subject or the object. As here it is telling about object complement, object, it becomes object complement, but it acts as an adjective. Clear? Because it is the function of the adjective to tell you more about the noun or the pronoun. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear to you?
Yes.
I can hear
Yes,
only
ma'am.
one or two voices.
Yes,
Mother?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay. My mother noticed the baby walking by himself. My mother noticed the baby. What was the baby doing? It was walking by, very good, walking by himself, telling you more about the baby. Here the baby is the object because noticed, this is the verb. This is the verb with the baby becomes the object of the verb noticed. Right? And this phrase tells you more about the baby. Okay? Now sentence placement. See, this is very important. When do you place the participle? Okay? It can be in the beginning, it can be in the middle, it can be at the end. How to place it and whether to use comma or not, because that is very important. Sometimes we are so confused whether to use the comma or not. If we use the comma, it becomes wrong, right? Why it becomes wrong? I'll tell you how to use the participles and whether to use comma with it or not. Okay, when it is in the initial position. Okay, it is separated from the rest of the sentence by a comma. Clear? If it is in the initial, you have to use the comma. Running to the car, the boy welcomed his father home after 3 months away. Right? Okay? In the beginning, there is the phrase, right? The participle phrase. Whenever we are using it, we have to separate it with a comma. Clear? Scared, my sister slept with the lights on. Okay? Clear? Walking towards the gate, I saw my mother coming. Walking towards the gate, comma, I saw my mother coming. Right? There should be a comma whenever a participle or a participle phrase is used in the beginning, in the initial position, in the beginning of the sentence. You have to put a comma after either the participle or the participle phrase. Clear? Now, middle position. This is a bit more confusing, okay? Because it has two ways in which you can use the participle in between. When the participle or the participle phrase, it is in the position, middle position, and is not at all related to the sentence, right? It is not essential to the meaning of the sentence, right? That means without that participle phrase, the sentence is complete. You can put a comma. Okay? Without the participle phrase, the sentence is complete. You can put a comma there. My sister, exhausted, has fallen on the sofa. My sister has fallen on the sofa. The sentence is complete. So exhausted is not needed. If exhausted is not used, even then the sentence is complete. It is not essential to the meaning of the sentence. So you can separate it with two commas. One in the beginning, the other at the end. Okay. James, hiding under the bed, was completely silent. James was completely silent. The sentence is complete. Okay. The sentence is complete. Here it is the participle phrase is giving more information about James. So we can separate it by two commas. One in the beginning, the other at the end. Okay. But if it is essential, if it is very important for the meaning of the sentence, it should not be separated by comma. Okay. Comma should not be placed before and after the participle or participle phrase. The students finished with their work may take a break. Now, students may take a break. All the students, which students? Is it clear in this sentence? If I say the students may take a break, is it clear which student have to take, which all students have to take the break?
No, ma'am.
No. So it is important. The students finished with their work. That means the students who have finished their work. Okay? Right? We are contracting the sentence using participle. The students finished with their work may take a break. That means only those students will take a break who have finished the work. So this phrase is important for the sentence. So we do not separate it with commas. One in the beginning, one at the end. Clear? Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Jackets left behind will be donated. Jackets will be donated. Which jackets? Those jackets which have been left behind. Okay. Participants breaking the rule will be removed from the competition. Which participants? Participants who are breaking the rules. So breaking the rules is important for completing the sentence, and that is why it cannot be removed using the commas. Okay, so whenever the participle or the participle phrase is in the middle, it is always very confusing. So you have to see whether those words, that is the participle or the participle phrase, is it important for the sentence to complete? Does the sentence make any sense after removing the participle or the participle phrase? If it makes sense, you can put a comma. If it doesn't make a sense, you should not put the comma. Okay? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the
Yes,
last,
ma'am.
the final position, that is at the end. Okay. If the participle or the participle phrase occurs at the end of the sentence, immediately after the noun. Okay, because it acts as an adjective. Okay. Who muted me? Who muted me? If the participle or the participle phrase occurs immediately after the noun which it modifies, there would not be a comma, right? The comma will not be there. But if it is not immediately after the noun or the pronoun which it modifies, you will need a comma, right? After completion of the sentence, right? That is after the rest of the sentence is complete, after the before writing the participle or the participle phrase, right? We looked for hours and finally found James hiding. Hiding comes just after James, so you don't need a comma. Okay, the cat had no interest in the poor dog wagging its tail. Who is wagging its tail? The dog. So when the participle or participle phrase comes after the noun which it is modifying, you don't need a comma. I was in such a hurry, I didn't notice my jacket left on the table. But it was oblivious, he really enjoyed dinner, having had a second helping of the dessert. Now, who is having a second helping of dessert? Who is the subject here? Who is the noun? Yes, he, the noun or the pronoun. That means he. This participle phrase is modifying he, but he is not coming just before the participle or the participle phrase. So he is coming here, and there are few words in between the noun or the pronoun and the participle phrase. So we have to put a comma just before the participle phrase. Clear? My sister cried as she packed up her belongings, saddened at the idea of moving out of her childhood home. Who is saddened?
My sister.
Very good. My sister.
My sister.
My sister, yes. My sister is placed here. And there is a long gap between my sister and saddened at the idea of moving out of her childhood home. So we need to put a comma. Most of the puzzle pieces have disappeared, misplaced after so many years. Right? What are misplaced?
Puzzle pieces.
Puzzle pieces.
Most
So
of the
have
puzzles.
disappeared. Yes, have disappeared comes in between. That is why we have to put a comma here. Clear? The three positions. Okay. The three positions where participle is used and how you have to use it. If it is in the beginning, you have to put a comma. If it is in the middle, and if the sentence is not complete without the participle, you don't have to put a comma. And if it can be avoided, you have to put a comma before and after it. And if it is at the end, before the noun is just, sorry, the noun is just before it, you don't put a comma. And the noun and the phrasal, participle phrase, there is a gap between the two, you have to put a comma. So now you don't have any problem in this? Okay? Do you have any problem?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So these are exercises. Okay. Exercise 1, exercise 2, and exercise 3. Okay. 3 exercises I have given. Clear? You have to complete it and you have to post it. Any problem? Okay. Any problem? If you're having any problem, you can share it now. Because 9 non-finites we have finished today. We are finished with this chapter. Okay?